Brains and digestive systems are linked just like all systems in the body are linked. But with the strange, tube-like body shape of the giant squid, these two systems need to be a bit closer than they'd like. When you're a squishy, Lovecraftian toilet paper tube at the bottom of the ocean, you've got to play some organ Tetris to fit everything where it's supposed to be. But sometimes literally threading the gastrointestinal needle is how you get by here in life, death, and taxonomy.
Welcome back to Life, Death, and Taxonomy. It's your 30 minutes of interesting animal information. I am Joe.
And I'm Carlos.
Thank you to Cassie for the creation of our theme song. To hear more of Cassie's music, please search Cassie Michelle on YouTube or Spotify.
And thank you to Johanna for the creation of this week's artwork. To check that out, you can visit us at our home on the web at ldtaxonomy.com. And a very special thank you to our patrons, to Jesse Raspolich, Carol Raspolich, Richard Kaspar, Lottie, Aubrey, and Gray Hughes. Thank you so much for your support. It's greatly appreciated. Thanks for helping us keep the lights on.
And today we're talking about the grumpiest cephalopod in the sea, but more on that later.
I would be grumpy too.
If you were 0 and a million against a big whale.
The same big whale? Yeah. That would be rough. But there's also other reasons why I'd be grumpy. As a cephalopod in general, but I like cephalopods. That was our very first episode was the Humboldt squid. And now we're finally coming full circle. Which
you're getting to the big one.
Yeah. The big one.
We are talking about the big squid. The giant squid.
The large squid.
Yeah.
Yeah. This elusive creature of the deep, surpassed only by the colossal squid, the larger squid. This should just be called the large and the larger.
Largeness and hard to findness.
Yeah, so it seems that the colossal squid is heavier and girthier, but the giant squid is still longer. So, which I'm sure we'll learn more about. But we're going to call the giant squid here Squid Games and Dead Ringer, which will make more sense later on.
Oh, okay. Would you like to know what science calls it?
I would.
It's in the kingdom you know, love, and are in the kingdom Animalia. You're basically a squid at this point.
Pretty much.
But it's in the file Mollusca, so immediately diverging from your family tree.
You don't know that.
Unless you're a snail. It's in the class Cephalopoda, which means head feet.
Yeah. It's SpongeBob.
Oh, it's in the order Ogopsidae. Ogopsida.
Yeah, that works.
O-E.
Oegopsida?
Oh, maybe.
In Latin, I feel like you just need to just go through each vowel. That there's no like diphthongs. You just go. Each one is its own syllable.
Like Hawaii?
Yeah, kind of.
In Hawaiian, I think they do that most of the time. What does the computer man say? Ogopsida.
Oh.
It's in the superfamily Archaeoteuthioidae.
I can see you practice this.
Did I? Archaeoteuthioidea.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then the family is the exact same thing, but you flip those last two vowels around. Archaeoteuthioidae.
Archaeoteuthidea.
Archaeoteuthidea. Oh yeah, okay. There's missing O. Wow, very funny. It's in the genus Architeuthis.
Mm-hmm.
Architeuthis all day. Or Architeuthis.
He's the Captain America of the sea. C. Rogers.
Yeah. And the binomial name for the species is Architeuthis dux, or do.
Wow. I mean, so what's coming up next is nitty-gritty nomenclature, and I can't believe after saying Architeuthis in my head so many times, I did not think of Architeuthis all day. Architeuthis' own horn. It's time. So it's time for nitty-gritty nomenclature, part of the show where I ask you what the binomial nomenclature means in English. So we have Architeuthis dux. D-U-X.
This is like ducks if it was like a cool 90s duck.
Like, who's Howard the Duck. Howard the Duck. There we go.
I guess he's a cool 90s duck.
Yeah, he is. And I guess the Mighty Ducks are cool 90s ducks, too.
Very true. There was a lot of cool ducks in the 90s. Darkwing Duck.
Darkwing Duck, the DuckTales, Duck Kids, whatever.
The Duck Kids.
I didn't watch it. All right, so what does Architeuthis mean? Does it mean A, leader of the squid, B, ultimate double beak, C, created tall arch, or D, deeply built arms? I'm pretty proud of myself on these.
Yeah, I see what you're doing. Give me the first two again.
A is leader of the squid, and B is ultimate double beak.
I'm going to go with deep built arms or whatever. Final answer.
That is incorrect.
Is it the other one that's created?
Nope. It is
Okay.
leader of the squid.
Oh my gosh. So you made three that make sense. What's the ducks?
That just means chief. Like leader or chief. And arche also means like leader, like an archetype, like the top.
That's what I thought. I thought like it was either archetype or architecture. So the build and the create one kind of made sense to me.
Yeah.
And then 2 was in the other one. So those were the 3 that were not it.
Yeah, I was thinking like the redo, like REDUX or redux or whatever. Like so create like recreated or redone or rebuilt. So I was getting cheeky with this one, but yep, it's leader of the squid. Toothus is just a word for squid. It's actually chief leader of the squid if you want to be, because ducks and archy both mean leader or chief. Which they must have named before they realized there was a colossal squid, and also before they learned that Cthulhu slumbers beneath the waves. But yeah, I mean, that's what that means. We've already gone over, I believe, when we went over cuttlefish, what the collective noun for a squid is. So that's why we're doing nitty gritty nomenclature.
Would you like to know what it looks like?
Sure.
It's a pretty classic looking squid.
Classic
if you see
squid.
a squid, if you see somebody, if you Ask a child to draw a picture of a squid, and they're going to be thinking of this. The giant squid has a mantle, 8 arms, and 2 elongated tentacles. So that makes it a decapod, right? 10 arms, 10 legs.
Well, the tentacles aren't arms, so it's
Very true.
It's an
They're
octopod.
just there. An octopod. The arms are shorter and have suction cups along their entire length. Tentacles are long and only have suction cups on the ends. So that's the difference between arms and tentacles. But the arms and tentacles bear suction cups that are lined with sharp, serrated rings, leaving circular scars on sperm whales that they give hugs to.
Murder hugs. Attempted murder hugs.
And they have really large eyes, perhaps the largest in the animal kingdom. Maybe next to the colossal squid or after the colossal squid.
And Cthulhu.
And that helps them see in low light conditions. And when they're in the deep, they can spot bioluminescence.
Yeah, that's the largest eyes in, the world. Obviously, larger than us. So the animal kingdom is everything else. But, and they're far from the largest animal, but they have larger eyes than, blue whales. So
yeah, blue whales have those little bitty eyes because they don't need anything bigger. They live up in the where the light touches. They don't go down to.
Well, sperm whales have relatively small eyes, and they go down to the.
That's true.
The depths. But they use other forms to find other methods to find their prey, not just sight.
True. So let's talk about how big they are. Welcome to the Beloved Measure Up segment, the official listener's favorite part of the show, the part of the show that's introduced by you when you send in audio of yourself saying, singing, or clicking your beak in the deep. The words measure
deep
up into LD
beak
Taxonomy.
Clicking. Love it.
ldtaxonomy@gmail.com. We don't have a new Measure Up intro this week, which means we get to hear from a squid. And Carlos is going to vainly try to guess what it is before he hears it.
Ooh, it's bold. It's going to be vain. Okay, bring it on.
Do you have a guess? A pre-guess?
No, because I can't think of any animated squid. So
there's at least one that we all know and love.
That's an octopus.
But it's definitely not that one.
Davy Jones is an octopus.
I was thinking of Squidward.
Oh yeah, Squidward. Forgot about him.
But it's not Squidward. Without further ado, the listener's favorite part of the show.
Yeah,
Who
no
is
idea.
that?
Old. Well, yeah. Give me my multiple choice, I suppose.
There's no multiple choice, but I will tell you this is a Hanna-Barbera character.
Yeah, no idea. Not. I have no knowledge of that at all.
That is Squidly Diddly.
Squidly diddly.
And if you look at a picture of him, he looks like he's an octopus. He does not look like a squid at all.
Looking up a picture now, you are 100% correct. This is an octopus. And it's funny because when you mentioned Squidward, it didn't register to me that he's a squid. I mean, his name is Squidward, but he looks nothing like a squid, and he has the big bulbous head that a octopus has. Like, he doesn't have the mantle and the fins and anything that gives him squid-like appearance. So He just has
He only has
four.
8 arms too. He doesn't have long tentacles.
He only has 6 appendages. He has 4 feet and 2 arms.
Oh.
And he uses
happened
those
to
feet
his
in
other
tandem.
arms?
They're like linked together because that's all they wanted to animate. So, yeah, he's about as he's about as much of a squid as you or I am. Which is we're in the kingdom Animalia.
It is good character design though. Squidward is funny looking. It's good.
He would look pretty horrifying if he was if they did the Little Mermaid live action to him. He just looks like a real squid. It just anything he says, well, like "Hi, SpongeBob," is just this horrific clacking beak coming out of his bottom,
Clicking and squelching.
No, thank you. I don't think SpongeBob would have been half as popular of a show if that had been the character's foil.
Let's talk about their length. They're usually between 5 meters or 16 feet long. But that's not very crazy. So they can grow up to be like 30 feet long. Which
including the arms.
Including the arms. Yeah. So let's just go with 16 feet. The average. The upper end of average rather than the exceptional. So, how many giant squids go into the length of the Queen Anne's Revenge?
Blackbeard's boat.
And here's a crazy thing about Blackbeard's boat. Here's a hint. Queen Anne's Revenge is the legendary pirate ship that was captained by Edward Blackbeard Teach. In November 1717, it was captured by pirates while being used as a French slave trading vessel. It eventually ran aground off the coast of North Carolina in June of 1718. It was not Blackbeard's famous flagship ship for more than a year.
But it did a lot of damage.
Probably. Also, like, when I first read that, I'm like, yeah, pirates, you stop those slave trading vessels. But then I kept reading, and they just took the slaves and sold them and made a profit on them. So,
did you expect anything different?
No, but I hoped
that these Disney pirates of the Caribbean would have hearts of gold and spend most of their time fighting like cosmic horror monsters instead of actually doing piracy.
The real Pirates of the Caribbean were more like closer, less like full-on evil sea terrorists like we might think of them, and more like
mobsters. It's organized crime.
Like mobsters, but also like they principled mobsters, where like they had a structure of democratic government on their ship and like ships and stuff. They were a counterculture to the British Royal Navy, which was very like captain's way or the highway. And that's what made these pirates like go rogue. They would mutiny and be like, "We're not doing it that way anymore. We're sick of it."
And
so
also,
it's interesting. So
we have guns. Let's go take the stuff from people.
You want them to be like Malcolm Reynolds and Firefly, sailing the seas, doing odd jobs and doing the right thing. But they're human beings. It turns out.
Yes, on the outside of the law, you're not going to find very many great stories.
Well, great stories, just not like heartwarming ones.
Stories of good deeds and heroism. Yeah. Okay. So the Queen Anne's Revenge is one of those. I know it's got the lady on the front. But I don't know if it's It's a big ship. Big galleon. I don't know my ships very well.
It's a frigate.
Of course it is. As though that means anything to me. Those boats are very long. I'm gonna say 200 feet. Yes. No, 150 feet. That doesn't seem like a lot. No, I mean, yeah, that's a lot. And this, how big did you say the squid was? 33?
16 feet.
Or we're going by 16?
Yeah.
Okay. I was seeing that recent estimates put the maximum size of the giant squid at 43 feet for females.
Yeah. We're going with the upper end of average, not the like. They've found some specimen that are like really big.
Yeah, they said one is 66 feet, undocumented. That is
sure.
That is very, very big. All right, so 16 feet. That's kind of underwhelming. But I'm gonna say 9.3 then. 9.3 squid laid mantle to tentacle. Would span the keel. Yeah, the keel of this ship.
The correct answer is 6.4.
Oh, it's a short ship.
The ship was 103 feet, or 31.4 meters.
A short ship.
A short ship indeed.
And a sudden stop.
So let's talk weight. They're around 275 kilograms or 606 pounds. You slap that 606 pounds on the deck and you really feel it shake. But in the water, it's not so much of a problem. So how many giant squid go into the weight of the stern post that was recovered from the wreckage of the Queen Anne's Revenge?
We're going full Blackbeard theme.
Yeah. We're going pirates. Because we're talking about the Kraken.
I thought you were going to... I thought the other option was going Jules Verne, because the most famous scene in 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea is them getting attacked by a bunch of giant squid.
Oh, I've never actually seen or read the entirety of 20,000 Leagues, but
like if there's any cover art for the book or any of the movies, it's going to be somebody being attacked by a giant squid.
Well, here's a hint. The wreck was discovered in 1996. I did not know this. When we were born, the world did not know the fate of the Queen Anne's Revenge, other than that it ran aground in off the coast of the U.S. But it was discovered in 1996, and it was discovered by a private research team. How awesome to work for this private. We're gonna go and try to find a sunken pirate ship. What is
I'm
this?
sure there's tons.
Uncharted.
Well, the Mediterranean, man. That. Imagine finding the stuff that's there. So many wars fought in a relatively small space. There's gotta be so much cool stuff down there that's just under layers and layers of sand and silt and from the Punic Wars and all these naval battles, all these Phoenician trading ships that are probably at the bottom of that we still haven't found. That would be great.
It was not until 2011 until They collected enough evidence to confirm, pretty without a shadow of a doubt, that it was the Queen Anne's Revenge. And the post that we're talking about, the stern post, was recovered in 2007.
Okay, I don't know what a stern post is. I had forgotten that you said it was a stern post, and I was thinking the mast. So, that's. I'm gonna go ahead and take my estimate.
A stern
down
post is the
less.
principal upright post at the stern of a vessel, usually serving to support the rudder.
So the stern's the back.
It's an up and down piece of wood, not a length of the ship piece of wood. And it's in the proper boat. It's in the ship. It's not like It's not supporting any sails.
I'm gonna go with 2. 2 600-pound squid go into the weight of this piece of wood.
Final answer.
Yep.
The correct answer is 2.4.
That is nursing school victory. It must be, right?
The post was 1,500 pounds.
Yes. 83%.
They also recovered the anchor, which is wherever that is. You got to go lay eyeballs on it because that's awesome. The anchor from the Queen Anne's Revenge. So cool. But guess how heavy the anchor is. Standard anchor weight.
50 pounds.
No. Well, actually, that's probably closer to standard anchor weight today. But for like your regular boats. But it's a ton. We've talked about anchors before on the show, and it's a ton.
Yeah, but like we talked about anchors for, cargo ships, like the biggest vehicles mankind has ever made. And yeah, they were like very, very heavy because they have to anchor the biggest vehicles mankind has ever made. All right. You got any fast facts before we get to the major fact?
I sure do. Giant squids use small fins on their mantle for movement and jet propulsion for speed. And the giant squid and some other large squid species maintain neutral buoyancy in seawater, not with a swim bladder like fish, but by using an ammonium chloride solution, which is lighter than seawater and is found throughout their bodies. Incidentally, the solution is also said to taste like salty licorice and makes them bad for eating if you're a human, unless you're a Scandinavian who they love really salty licorice. So maybe they would like giant squid.
I don't like licorice, but I do like salt. So maybe those two things balance themselves out.
Like many cephalopods, they use jet propulsion to get around, which sounds crazy, but here's how it works. They pull in water into a cavity in their mantle and then force it out quickly with muscular contractions. So they're just like spitting out water and getting around like that. They enjoy eating deep sea fish and other squids, and they are probably solitary hunters. They might even be cannibalistic, but we're not sure because sometimes we find other giant squids in giant squid stomachs. That could be like bits that are ripped off during fighting over other food or something, or mating, who knows. They are infamously mysterious. We don't know how many there are in the world. Scientists have tried to guess based on the stomach contents of sperm whales how many giant squids there are. I guess the sperm whales are pretty faithful in what they eat, what their diet is. So faithful that we find a sperm whale, we can look inside its stomach and see how many squid there are. But they think their numbers
project how many there are based on how many this sperm whale is eaten, but
no idea. You figure if this is the main food source of this animal, There has to be at least that many. But I'll tell you one thing. So they estimate their numbers to be well into the millions. But the estimation range is something like it's somewhere between 4 and 130 million. What a humongous range.
That is a humongous range.
But I guess it's like it's better than not knowing anything.
But here's the thing. Like, hey, listen. Did you know that deep down in Davy Jones' locker, there are millions of potentially 40-foot long squid that just want to beak your face off?
Yeah.
No. This is why there is thalassophobia, because there really are monsters down there, and it turns out there's a whole lot of them.
A 40-foot squid, yeah.
I mean, it's like long and spindly because it's long tentacles, but I just like envision the length of my backyard, which is 60 feet, and they're estimating that the larger specimens are 2/3 of that. Like that is very, very big.
But just the fact that even if it grabs you with one arm, one tentacle, you're getting lacerated like crazy.
Yeah.
Because their little suckers are sharp.
And even without any of its arms or tentacles, it's still much longer than me by 7 inches. Its mantle is around 6 feet 7 inches long. That's a basketball player right there. Insane.
Well, that's all I got. Do you have any big facts?
I do. The major fact is an esophagus runs through it. So there are 4 major types of digestive systems for animals. We've never talked about this before, but the first is monogastric. This is, your typical mouth, esophagus, single-chambered stomach, intestines, and exit portal. Just a straight shot, start to finish. This is, humans, pigs, snakes, this kind of thing. There's also the avian digestive system, which includes a crop, which is a large pouch at the end of the esophagus where food is stored before it moves on to the rest of the digestive system, and birds have a lot of birds have control over this. There's the ruminant digestive system, which is cows and deer and things like that, where they have multi-chambered stomachs, or they because they eat so much high fiber, low energy food, they have to eat it, let it stew, throw it up into their mouths, chew it and eat it again, and then actually digest it. So chewing the cud. And then there's the pseudo-ruminant, where the animal has the same diet as a ruminant, but they don't have the chambered stomach, and that would be something like a horse. So the squid has a monogastric digestive system. It's a straight shot from the mouth to the exits. Like it's like we humans have, except it's not even a little bit like we humans have when you actually look at it. So they have these tubular bodies. They're squid, and this is squid in general, but it is interesting with the giant squid because of how big it is. But the squid need to play some organ Tetris in order to get this all to work. Their brains, all squid, their brains are shaped like donuts. They are ring-shaped. Which is just so weird to me. It's like they're super colliders in there, except there's not all that much happening in the brain of a squid.
Just two particles smashing together. That's it.
Yes. It's just Friends reruns in there. That's pretty much all that's happening. They most of their brain power goes to their optical lobes. They do have, like we said, the largest eyes in the animal kingdom, along with the colossal squid. But they also have these little floating bone-like structures in their brains called statoliths. And these allow the squid to know which way is up. It's a gravity flotation thing where when they're down where light doesn't really reach, or it reaches but it's so diffused that it can't really pick very much up, they can know which way is which way goes to the surface. But the interesting thing is, so they have these these ring-shaped brains, and their esophagus starts at their mouth, their beak, which is at the center of where all their arms and tentacles meet, and it extends straight through the body, through the ring of their brain. So they just have, if you look at it, it looks like a Cheeto being stuck through a Cheerio. It's it's really bizarre. But the problem is for the squid is that there isn't a lot of wiggle room for this. It's some of the, if you look it up, some of the diagrams make it look like there's there's a lot of space for the esophagus. The reality is that it's pretty snug. So, and a brain, any brain is a very delicate organ. So if the squid eats something too large and it passes through the esophagus, it could stretch the brain and cause brain damage and potentially kill the squid. And so this is why giant squid, squid in general, they will tear their prey apart, but giant squid will also do this. They'll use the serrations on their suckers. They'll use their beaks, which, man, why do they have parrot beaks? Why is that so unsettling to me? They could have like a sarlacc pit mouth with rows of teeth, and that would be less unsettling to me than a beak. Like
just a bird's beak.
Imagine if there were just human lips in there. That was just so weird. So anyway, they'll use their beak, and they have a very rough tongue with these serrations on it that will also rip up food.
They swear a lot.
Yeah, they swear. They are sailors. They have a sailor's mouth. Do you beak your mother with that beak? So they'll use these tools to rip their food to shreds, as they and into the smallest pieces possible, because if they take too large of a bite, they could accidentally kill themselves, or at least cause permanent brain damage, as it passes through their esophagus and through their ring brain. And they actually they're theorized to not have to eat very very often. That their metabolism is low, and they can eat just once every several days, or even up to a week or more, which makes a little bit more. I mean, if there's so many of these guys and they're so big, you think like how do they exhibit this deep sea gigantism if there isn't enough food? That would be the big problem with living at the bottom of the ocean, is that food would be meals would be few and far between. And the reality is that they can just go for a long time without eating, and also they can eat things very slowly, so they'll kill their prey, or at least disable it. This fish or other squid, and they will just kind of eat off of it for days at a time. Because they can't eat too fast, otherwise they'll die. So there's also that. They can't not eat, and they can't eat too fast. I mean, that's life, right? You have to find a balance.
Why does the brain have to circumnavigate the esophagus?
Because it wouldn't fit anywhere else. God said when he created the squid. I don't know.
I just want to know. It's just a trick that God was like, check this out.
Well, it's like for an octopus, the brain kind of sits back in this pouch. It's not very hydrodynamic, where the squid is, and in order to be hydrodynamic, the brain can't be in this big bulbous pouch somewhere on it.
Maybe it's for perfect symmetry of weight.
Maybe, but it doesn't need to be very smart, so it has a nice round, smooth brain, like a koala.
Yeah, you can't argue with them. They just get caught in circular thinking.
Yeah, it's just nothing but circular reasoning with these guys. But yeah, and really it's a major fact for squid in general, but I wanted to talk about the giant squid because they haunt my dreams.
They are aliens for sure.
Yeah, the Humboldt squid is scary because they're aggressive. But the giant squid is scary because it's a big boy. It's giant. It's the large one.
And for all we know about it, it's also aggressive.
It could also be aggressive, yes. It takes on sperm whales and loses pretty much every time, but it still does. And that's impressive. That takes gumption. And that's all I got.
That's all I got.
All right, so for you out there in Podcastia, find some food. Beak it real good. And don't eat big bites or you'll get big brain hurts like the giant squid here in Life, Death, and Taxonomy.
Hey Taxonomy Titans, I just want to remind you that we now have a Patreon. Patrons can see full video episodes and get shoutouts on the show. But ultimately, it's a way for you to help us cover some costs and get even better. Still, reviews are the best way to help us grow. So if you haven't left one yet, we'd really love to hear from you. As always, thanks for listening and engaging.
Life, Death, and Taxonomy is my favorite in the world podcast.
I sent you a picture of a very scary looking colossal squid.